Alright, we're going to do a quick review of the Girsan or the EAA, European American Armory MC P35 pistol. Now, comes in this nice hard box. And usually this is a Turkish copy of the Browning High Power. Comes in a nice hard case, and usually the Turkish guns got a ton of accessories, but this one here, you got a lock in there, wedged in there, one bristle brush. There isn't a second cleaning rod, but I've seen a few other videos. I guess they don't hand them out. You get a manual that covers this one, and there was a couple target models with adjustable sights and a little bit different, but this is a simple version. You get the instruction manual and the handgun with one mag. So put this aside and take a look. So this is what we got, and basically this is a copy of the Browning High Power, another classic gun. Let me get that little tag off. Alright, I removed this tag, and it just says limited lifetime warranty, and there's a barcode on it. We'll throw that back into the box. But what we got is basically a Browning High Power clone. P35 is what it's being called. It was always referred to as the High Power. Now this gun from the 35 was kind of designed in 1935. I'm not going to get into the history of it, but I believe the originals had a 13-round magazine, and as far as a 9mm, the way it fits in the hand, I don't think there's anything out there that can beat this for comfort and shooting. And this is the great granddaddy of the Wonder Nines. Okay, at the time, most pistols in the World War II era, and even going into the 1950s and that, were single stack, either 7 or 8 rounds, regardless of the caliber. And this was the first one that had a large capacity magazine. And truthfully, compared any other type of 9mm with a large capacity, this gun fits in the hand better than any of them. It's still to this day, this design beats them hands down. You know, the 1911, and this is 1 in 9. This one, single stack, fits in the hand pretty good, but it feels rather heavy, bulky compared to the High Power. And then when they tried to improve on the High Power years later, with like, this is a clone of a Czech CZ75. This has a 17-round mag. It's double action, single action. And as you can see, pretty much they tried improving the High Power. This is more of a competition gun. This has a longer barrel. The standard model is about the same barrel length as this. And this gun shoots well, it fits in the hand pretty good, but it's wider in the grip, in the frame, okay? When it comes to classic lines, comfort, and just getting into your hand and fitting right and balancing that, nothing beats the High Power. So Browning took these guns out of production after many years. Okay, and everyone come out, well, the first one I believe was Springfield Armory, and then you had this Turkish clone of the pistol. The difference is this is a $500 retail pistol, where the Springfield Armory one, which I believe it's blued and a little bit nicer fit and finish, is a $700 retail gun. So that's about the difference. I was looking to get one of each, so I got this one first. And it's, when you look at it, it is a High Power, or a pretty good copy of it. Okay. Now, this pistol comes with a 15 round mag, which I think standard on high power was 13. And somebody said that the old Browning high power 13 round magazines will fit in here. Because it only comes with one mag, and I've been looking around for some spare mags and I really can't find anything right off the bat. So you got your standard mag release. This pistol is a single action only, okay? And it has a magazine safety. Without the magazine in, the gun will not function, much like the original. So, single action, that's it. The only good thing about it is, much like the original, this gun has 3 positions. You got that little click there, which barely lifts the hammer off of the firing pin. That's so when you bump it with a round in a chamber, it won't go off. Really, you shouldn't be carrying this gun with a round in the chamber and a hammer all the way down. This also has a half cock position, as you can see right there. The gap is even smaller. Now what happens with this, the trigger doesn't work. Safety goes on, but the trigger doesn't work, and until you cock it all the way back, okay, it will fire. Now, what you could do, load this gun, get a round in a chamber, drop that hammer down into that half cock position, and you got a round in a chamber to safety off for all of you that do not like safeties, and you could holster this gun. You can pull on the trigger, get the trigger caught, putting it in your pocket or jacket. It will not go off. And then what you would have to just do is remember to cock the gun once you draw it out of the holster and you're ready to go. So, you know, there's probably a ton of other channels out there that'll show you all the features. This gun does have an ambidextrous safety here and here. The magazine release is here, this button here, like on a 1911. Holds open on the last round. And then this large piece here is your slide release, which releases fairly easily compared to a lot of guns out there. Okay, they kind of warn you not to do that. Let the slide home. It'll wear the gun out, but there ain't a lot of pressure needed to get that action to close. And the sights, it's weird. It's like 2 dots, and that front sight's painted on there, white. And like I said, 15 shot magazine. And disassembling the weapon is fairly simple. Okay, if you look here, try to get up and close. You got a couple notches, one here and one there. Okay, this notch, you see where the safety goes up into it? Well, what you would do is draw the gun back, draw the slide back, and you would get the second notch. You place the safety up in there. I'll show you. You're supposed to remove the mag, but you slide that up to the second notch here. Drop the mag out, which by the way did not come out that well with the slide back. And then on this side, where you see this projection, you push this, well, you lift up your lift this up a bit and then push this from the other side here. This comes out like on the 1911. This piece here, your slide release, comes out. And then being very careful, I'll bring the camera back. Grasp the pistol, press this down, and the whole sliding mechanism comes out. There you have it. And then what you would do is push on the recoil spring somewhat, take it out, then lift your barrel up. Here's your slide, and that's it. Comes apart fairly easily. You know, to me it's a lot easier than the Glock and the 1911. You ain't got to twist the bushing off or any of the other. And if you look, it's very similar lock up to 1911, but without that link in that, more like that SIG style where it rocks back on there. Okay, now we'll get into reassembly. Okay, now that we've cleaned the packing oil out of it, another thing, this barrel was full of crud. Okay, I mean, I ran a wire brush through it, it looks okay. I don't think it's pitted or nothing, but that was kind of unusual. So that's one thing to be aware of. And you want to get this thing orientated the right way with the circle pointing kind of downward. And if you get one of these guns, you will see that's how it works. You just get it in there, compress this back, so it lines up like that. And then it's just a matter of putting it back onto the slide again. And then what you do is pull back on the slide until you can put your safety up in the notch. Then it's just a matter of taking your slide release, getting it started, and much like a 1911, just pushing it down into place, and then dropping the safety. You're good to go. Okay, pros and cons on this. There's been a few complaints about this gun. One of them is the beaver tail on the standard model here isn't quite long enough, and for a fleshy hand like mine, you see the skin when I grab a hold of it, my skin comes up, and when that hammer goes back, there's a good possibility that it's going to bite me. Okay, the target models have a longer beaver tail. So with this rounded hammer, there's a problem with that. Now, magazines will drop freely with the slide forward. But if you have it back, last round open, the magazine doesn't want to come out. That's because of the mag safety retaining it. So that's another thing people didn't like about this gun. Okay. But still, like I said, for what it does, it may give me a pinch. How I'm gonna change that, I don't know. It just comes with the territory. Lowering my grip may help, but I like getting a hold of it good. Now, for the trigger, you know, talking about the trigger, this thing has a pretty good take-up, as you can see. I'm moving this thing quite a bit. Okay, so it's got some take up in there, but when you pull, it lets off pretty good. Okay, that was another thing people triggering that, and it is a single action, but that's the way it is with these old guns. Good news is holsters. Before I get into it, this will probably fit into any Browning high power holster. You know, any of the good leather ones or whatever. But I did review this holster here, this cheap universal holster. I will place a card so you can see the video on this holster. This is just outside the waistband paddle holster, universal holster that this thing fits right into. You might be able to tighten that up a little, but I think this holster was like 30 bucks. So check the video out on this holster, and I believe this gun will fit in any Browning high power holster. Okay, so you don't have to look for the company name or model. This will fit into a Browning high power holster. And there's a lot of decent ones out there, leather, inside, you know, all kinds of holsters. Also, it will take the original 13 round magazines, will fit in here. Okay, that's something else somebody brought up. And also, this grip has this raised finger groove on it on both sides, kind of like an ambi thing, you know, to get your thumb and your forefinger on there. I kind of don't like that, but they say I'm probably going to go and replace these with just a plain wooden grip off Browning high power. I believe they said the same grips will fit on there, and I can find a set of brand new just flat panel wood grips for like 30 bucks. Some of the more customized ones or fancier ones go up $60, $80. I just wanted just a plain military style set of flat panel grips for this gun. So that's about it. Price wise, we'll go over that. The price I paid for this, I believe, was $4.89, and then after the sales tax, $15.70. You're not going to beat that. No, sales tax was $34. Okay, the credit card fee was 15 bucks. Now, if I went on to Sportsman's Warehouse, they had one. I could have ordered it, waited a week. First of all, it was $10 cheaper to begin with, so it would be $4.79 for the pistol. And I would not get charged the 15 bucks. So you're looking at like $25 less if I ordered it and went and picked it up at Sportsman's Warehouse. So going to the gun shows, dealing with a smaller dealer, you get hit with credit card fees. These guns are a lot cheaper on the gun broker from some wholesalers. But if you look, you could be paying anywhere from $20, $30, $45 shipping. And if you find the one on a gun broker that's cheaper than anyone else, you will notice that he charges $45 in shipping. Chances are you will pay sales tax, and then you have to pay $20, $25 transfer fee. Okay? So, like I said, all my shopping and that, buying this gun, probably the best deal you'd get all the way around if you just want to get it now instead of waiting for a sale or a rebate, would be Sportsman's Warehouse if you have one in your area. So that's it about pricing. Okay, you may find somebody selling these for less if you really look around, but that's about what it is. That's another reason why when I did my gun show video, I said, you know, for stuff off the shelf that's pretty current, like this here, I could usually find a better deal in one of my local big box sporting goods stores than going to the gun show. Alright, so that's it, guys. Gonna do a range video. Gonna take this out and run some ammo through it. Maybe compare it to a couple of my other guns. Gonna see if I like it or not. For me, with the hammer bite, this gun may be a tough one to shoot. I really like it. The balance and pointability of it, you know how it points and that is good. Gonna see if we got any accuracy with it. The missus likes this style of gun because that small frame fits in her hand very well and she can get a hold of it. And being a heavier, longer barrel, the recoil ain't terrible, so probably she'll shoot a gun like this very well. That's another thing about it. So, you know, hit the like button, subscribe. You know, there's a link to my Patreon account down below. And thank you, and stay tuned.